Hello my people. Today we're going to make a few assumptions. We're going to make a few assumptions that all is well in your life and everything is as balanced as you would like them to be. That you've made decisions about your direction in business, online, what it is you would like to sell, and what it is you would like to make of your business. This is Kingdom Raptor J. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to subscribe. For those of you that have never been here, if you don't subscribe now, you might never see me again. And this, in the end, is going to be a very useful resource for you. This is a motivational channel that does not just motivate you, it also teaches you how to succeed in business and has some very useful tools for you as a content creator. How to live in a beautiful neighborhood like this. How to buy and sell property from the auction, for example. You might not know that when you buy property from the auction, there's a 25% minimum that you could get a property from the auction, less 25% of the market rate, and then turn that property into a home of multiple occupation. And that home of multiple occupation obviously would have small rooms and en-suite bathrooms and toilet within that house, so that house might have been originally a 4-bedroom house could end up being a 7-bed seat, right? And bed seat these days they're called studio flats. You convert that into 7 studio flats and went back to the bank. The bank can loan you the value of the new value of the house. Say the house was 300,000, 100,000, it all depends on where you're buying from. You could very easily double the value of that house, and the bank now gives you another 100,000 or another 300,000. It's all very checkable and all very doable, and a lot of people are doing this and making lots of money, turning the house into a bigger profit spinning machine. Same house, but going back to the bank and getting more money because it's doubled in equity. At least you now could ask for more money because it's more equitable. You've done something to the house that has now given it more value, and that value could be something you could go to the bank and get some money and use that money to buy another house. For those that are looking for a way to getting into the property market, buying and selling houses, this is one of the fastest, most guaranteed ways of getting a toehold on the property market, where you could buy houses and sell them on for a profit after converting some of them into a home of multiple occupation that gives you more equity to borrow with from the bank, go back into the market and sell it for a huge, handsome profit in the end, some 5 years later, maybe less. You could make 2 or 3 times what you spent originally on the property. And in the meantime, to keep the property paying for itself. It's very hard to actually get anywhere to rent in London right now, or in the outskirts. Better still, if you're just going into the property market, it still would equate to the same thing. It's just difficult these days with money in your hand to even find somewhere to rent. So those that are going into this as a buy-to-let option would still, for years to come, make huge money and benefit handsomely from it. Everything you hear here is checkable, and it's being done as we speak by smart people that have actually used this secret formula to make themselves very wealthy. And it could be you. If you can't do it on your own, get a small consortium together. You could start a current group of 12 people that would buy together as a company and sell together as a company and share the dividend between themselves. That dividend on a yearly basis will be shared out once a year, and everybody would make huge sums of money from it and decide what projects they're going to do next. And it's so much more transparent. How you choose to run your current group as a company will be totally up to you as a governing body of business people financing projects together. But just remember to keep a majority share for the ownership of the business, so you never lose your company to aggressive takeovers. That's another subject. We'll talk about that some other time. But for now, I hope that's been very useful for anyone looking to get into the property business and looking to make money buying and selling houses. One of the few ways guaranteed that you could move from fairly insecure dwelling to a much better housing situation, if it were for yourself alone, with a business spin to it. You indeed could become very rich if you choose to follow this path as a business. However, there is another path you could go to arrive at this if you only have a few thousand to fund yourself. Do not forget that it's always possible to invest in a hedge fund that would divide up the risks for you with very little money, put in 100, 200 pounds every month away. That soon becomes, when it's compounded, hundreds of thousands of pounds in less than 10 years. 5 years, you still would make healthy profit. Even 3 years will give you something decent that you never would have been able to save by yourself. Your money just sitting in the bank does nothing for you. You need to put your money to work, because smart people and rich people get money to work for them rather than work hard for money. You just need capital to get started. So if you're wondering how you're going to quit your 9 to 5, don't quit quite yet. I say put in as many hours as you can while you're still at it. Learn as much as you can. You could still turn it into a business. Make a business of your life and your time. Try not to sell time for money, and instead use your time to multiply what businesses and what products you sell. You could sell hundreds of thousands of products and make millions with the same time that you'd have gone and done a 9 to 5 and made peanuts. So you have to re-educate yourself the way we have been educated from very young to, quite frankly, into fairly recent times. your dotage has been all wrong. You've been taught to actually go get a job, stay at your job for 20 years and get a pension. Now, you might or might not know that pensions these days give you very little returns. So you would have worked for 20 years and end up having to do supplementary work to supplement your pension, which is a waste of an entire life, a waste of effort, just to do slightly better than someone who never worked. What's the point of that? You'd have wasted time. You'd have ended up not seeing much of your children, if you have any, not being much with your wife and family and friends. All for what? Just so that you could have a glorified job. A glorified job might come in other guys, like buying a franchise, which is slightly better than having a job, of course. But if you've got to actually stay there and run the business using your time rather than actually getting your money to work for you, it's just another glorified job. For example, being a content creator, you'll have to put lots of time and effort into it as a business to begin with. But as time goes on, it's good to actually get a team, make loads and loads of programming, batch it all out, find a niche where you could actually take yourself out of the equation so the business doesn't own you. So in fact, you could actually sell the business without having to be stuck to the business as a brand name. Create a brand that you could remove yourself from, and you have something you could sell. There are in fact some people that do no more than just buying and selling businesses. They create a business, sometime from inception, run it for a year or 2 years, and sell the business for hundreds of thousands of pounds. I mean, we're living in an environment where Britain is now an alien nation. The care business is rife for ripping, in that if you get into care as a business, you definitely will make money, because a lot of people, the demand in Britain, are getting old, and there are very few people, comparatively, going to replace them 5 to 10 years down the line. So looking at business from a 5 to 10 years trajectory always gives you a perfect answer and a perfect place to land your business. And you start now, there'll be a cyclical boom and bust every 10 years. Things will do well, things will peak, do amazingly well, and then burst. Then there'll be a recession. Even in a recession, there are people that make a lot of money from that. There are people that make loads of money from a global downturn. A lot of billionaires and millionaires were created when there was a global COVID epidemic. You would think that that's the time when everybody loses money. A lot of people did. My point is, when everybody is zigging, if you think very carefully, if you zag, you win. In this world where business is zigzag, don't always follow the crowd. It's saturated. Even as a trader, by the time you see the signals, it's too late. People are now going in the opposite direction, because those that spotted the signal did not wait for it to become common knowledge. They got in as a first responder early and reaped the benefit, and at the tail end, when it's about to turn to the next direction, you come in and think you actually got good information. That's second-rate information. Learn to be a trader if you trade in the stock market that could actually find your information early, find your signals early, put your stop loss to it, know where your support and resistance is, put a very tight stop loss to it, divide your money into 10 different parts minimum and get trading in a way that is unemotional, so that you get into the market and you actually trade without emotions. Put your money in there, trust your stop loss. Unless it hits the stop loss, leave the money in there. Stop checking the money every 2 minutes, because that would just make you emotional, and you cannot afford to be emotional in business. And the reason I actually would end on that topic is because the business of being emotional does not help you in any way you could think of. Not with your women, not with business, not with anything. You should never be emotional. Kill your emotions. If you're an author, kill your darlings. Whatever it is you think is good for you, emotional behavior never is. So back to the trade. You make your profit, you put it back in. Always, as a professional trader, take profit. You're not a professional trader till you start learning to take profit. And when you take profit, don't put the whole thing back in. Put only a small fraction of it back in. Use that to actually make your bank bigger, so that each time you trade, of the 10 times that you will have to trade, you trade in a bigger tent each time. And make sure you study paper trade and learn whichever technique you're going to attack the market with. Paper trade it first. Learn and study and study. Find good mentors, people that are making lots of money, millionaires minimum. If they're not millionaires, don't follow them, because they might not know what they're talking about. So these are some of the ways you could break out of being a 9-to-5 and start making serious amounts of money as a business person. Hope this has been useful to you, and hope you tune in next time for another in-depth discussion about how to turn yourself into a serious money-making machine. The whole idea is to become a monster in the niche in which you're going into. Do not have small dreams. Do not have small dreams. Make sure your dream is huge and big enough to accommodate not just you. You should be able to accommodate your staff and an entire business, so that you could take yourself out of the equation and be able to make lots of money without having to be stuck in a glorified, otherwise 9-to-5 humdrum existence. This has been Kingdom Rapture J, wishing you well, asking you to come out of your comfort zone, represent yourself, and rep till it hurts. Don't forget to subscribe and help us build this channel. Everything we do on this channel is for you. And therefore, you build us up, you build yourself up. You could get more resources thrown into this channel in a way that you could directly begin to actually reap the benefits. We've got some big plans coming in the pipework, but we need a much more sizable business before we could actually begin to look at it as something that could stand on its own, which is the whole idea. We would want to build something that is self-sustainable. Help us help you. Do please subscribe. Until next time, don't forget to keep showing up for yourself and make something of your dreams as a content creator. 2 or 3 videos every single day representing your niche. Thank you. Goodbye.